What if the worst heartbreak of your life at 20, the one that left you curled up on the bathroom floor at 3 a.m. sobbing so hard you thought your ribs would crack, was secretly the most powerful launchpad you will ever be given? The brutal catalyst that turns a broken heart into unbreakable ambition. The dark forge where ordinary boys become legends, because one young man discovered exactly that after he lost everything except the pain itself? Imagine this. His name is Ethan, 20 years old, a sophomore studying computer science at a mid-tier state university. Not a prodigy, not a trust fund kid, just a guy with decent grades, a part-time barista job, and a girlfriend named Mia who felt like oxygen. They had met during freshman orientation, bonded over late-night diner runs and shared Spotify playlists, and for 18 months, Ethan genuinely believed she was his forever. He had already started looking at promise rings on Etsy when he could barely afford rent. He mapped out their future in his head, graduate together, move to Seattle, get jobs at the same tech company, marry at 25, the whole script. And then one Thursday evening in early November, everything detonated. He came back to his dorm after a 12-hour shift, smelling like espresso grounds, and found Mia sitting on his bed with red eyes and a suitcase already packed. She didn't scream, she didn't throw things, she simply looked at him and said the 6 words that would haunt him for years. "I'm in love with someone else." Turns out the someone else was a senior lacrosse player with a rich dad and a Camaro, the kind of guy who posted shirtless gym selfies and called everyone bro. And just like that, overnight, Ethan went from having a future to having nothing. No girlfriend, no plans, no self-esteem. Just a hollow chest and a phone full of photos he couldn't bring himself to delete. The weeks that followed were pure survival mode. He stopped going to classes, lost 15 pounds because food tasted like cardboard. His friends tried to drag him to parties, but he would just sit in the corner staring at his phone waiting for a text that never came. He replayed every moment of their relationship, searching for the exact second he became disposable. He refreshed her Instagram stories until his thumbs bled, watching her smile in someone else's arms the way she used to smile in his. And the worst part was the shame, the suffocating shame of being the guy who got left, the guy who wasn't enough, the guy whose entire identity had been wrapped around someone who could walk away without looking back. He felt small, worthless, erased. But something strange started happening around week 6 of the darkness. Ethan woke up one morning and the pain hadn't vanished. It was still there, clawing at his sternum. But for the first time, he noticed something underneath it, a low, steady hum of pure rage. Not the explosive kind, not the kind that punches walls, but a cold, focused, nuclear rage that whispered a single question over and over. Is this really all you're going to be? And that question became a splinter in his mind he couldn't pull out. He started asking himself what he actually wanted outside of Mia. Not the version of himself that existed to make her happy, but the version that existed for himself, and the terrifying answer was, he didn't know. He had spent so long orbiting her light that he had never built his own. So one night at 2 a.m., still sleepless, still aching, he opened his laptop and instead of stalking her socials, he opened a blank code editor and started building something, anything. Just to prove he could still create when everything else had been destroyed, he built a stupid little app that scraped dining hall menus and told you which station had the shortest line. It took him 72 hours straight, fueled by Red Bull and spite, and when he finally pushed it live to the campus, subreddit 2,000 students downloaded it in the first week. People he didn't even know started high-fiving him in the quad, and for the first time since the breakup, something inside him lit up that had nothing to do with being chosen by someone else. It was the feeling of being capable on his own terms. That tiny spark became an obsession. Ethan started waking up at 5 a.m., not to cry, but to code. He signed up for every hackathon within driving distance. He cold-emailed startup founders asking for unpaid internships just to be in the room. He read Paul Graham essays like Scripture. He taught himself machine learning by watching YouTube at 2x speed. Every time the heartbreak tried to pull him back under, he channeled it into another line of code, another feature, another all-nighter. The pain didn't disappear, it transformed. It became rocket fuel. The same nervous system that once short-circuited over a scene-zone text now short-circuited over unsolved bugs, and slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the broken heart started forging an unbreakable ambition. Fast forward 18 months, Ethan is 22. He's standing on a stage in San Francisco wearing a hoodie he actually earned, accepting a term sheet for $2 million in seed funding for the AI startup he co-founded with 2 classmates. He met at one of those sleepless hackathons, the app he built out of pure pain. now has 400,000 users and just got acquired by a company whose name you'd recognize. He's making more money before age 23 than his parents made combined in a decade, but here's what nobody in the audience knows. Every single line of code, every investor email, every 16-hour day was paid for in advance by the tears he cried on that bathroom floor. The heartbreak was the tuition, the devastation was the entrance exam, and passing it meant learning the single most valuable lesson life will ever teach you. Pain is not the enemy of greatness. Avoidance of pain is when you try to protect yourself from ever feeling that depth of loss again. You also protect yourself from ever feeling the corresponding depth of drive. But when you let the pain in, all of it, without numbing it with parties or rebound girls or endless scrolling, when you agree to feel it completely, it alchemizes. It turns into a level of focus and hunger that comfortable people will never understand. So here are the actionable principles Ethan discovered, the ones he now calls Heartbreak Alchemy, the repeatable process for converting romantic devastation into unstoppable ambition. Principle 1, refuse to numb. For the first 90 days, do not date, do not download Tinder, do not drunk text, do not stalk. Sit in the fire until you stop smelling smoke, because only when the pain is felt fully does it lose its power to control you from the shadows. Principle 2, redirect every impulse toward creation. Every time you feel the urge to check her Instagram, open a blank document instead and write code, write music, write business plans, write a book. The emotional energy has to go somewhere. Make sure it goes into building, not destroying. Principle 3, adopt the 5 a.m. rule. When your heart is broken, your circadian rhythm is already wrecked. Use it. Wake up before the world has a chance to remind you of what you lost and spend the first 3 hours of every day becoming someone new. The discipline you build in those dark mornings becomes identity armor nothing can penetrate. Principle 4, turn shame into secret fuel. The world will try to comfort you with, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Reject that. Lean into the shame of being left. Let it become a quiet voice that says, never again will I be the version of me that wasn't enough. And let that voice push you harder than any cheerleader ever could. Principle 5, build public proof. Fast, ship something small within 30 days. A blog post, an app, a YouTube video, anything that forces the world to interact with the new version of you. Momentum is the only reliable antidote to rumination. And finally, Principle 6, embrace the paradox. The worse the heartbreak feels right now, the more potential energy it contains. A mild breakup produces mild motivation. A soul-crushing annihilation produces legendary ambition. So if you're 20 or 25 or 30 and someone just detonated your future, understand this. You didn't lose the love of your life. You lost the version of yourself that was small enough to be contained by another person, and the universe just handed you a once-in-a-lifetime demolition contract. Tear down the old foundation and build something so tall that no single human being can ever again determine your altitude. Because the truth nobody tells you at 20 is that the most painful breakups are not tragedies. They are graduations, brutal, bloody, involuntary graduations from emotional childhood into sovereign adulthood. And the scar tissue that forms around a broken heart is the strongest material known to man. It is the raw material legends are made of. So cry until you're empty. Then stand up, wipe your face, and start building, because the worst thing that ever happened to you just became the best thing that could have happened for you. This is Heartbreak Alchemy. This is how pain becomes power, and your greatest love story is no longer about who chooses you. It's about what you choose to become the day after they stop.